Today's episode is a new to me experience, but something I think happens fairly regularly. The marine environment is not like being on shore by any means because of the way the weather affects everything. If you're in a car, who cares if it's windy or not? On a freeway, you might feel it pulling a little bit, but other than that, there's no real negative side effect. As you can see here in this part of the video, there's a couple of guys you've never seen before, and a boat that's not mine, and it's tied up to my boat. So what happened was this. That is a Catalina 22, and the owners of it is the young guy who's blocked by myself at the moment, and he anchored his boat. He didn't put down a mooring buoy, but he anchored his boat to the east of my boat, which is fine. There's no law against anchoring a boat in a mooring field like this. But the wind picked up. There was a bit of a windstorm, and the wind picked up, and it stayed fairly strong up until the tide came up. Once the tide came up, the boat dragged anchor. That little boat dragged anchor, and it dragged its anchor over top of my mooring buoy and painter, and then started banging into my boat. So one of the individuals who lives aboard in the hole here saw what was happening and came and didn't rescue the little boat, but basically tied it off to my boat so that it wasn't banging. Made sure that all the fenders from both boats were in between the boats, and then he tied them together securely. There's a couple of other boats that dragged anchor and ended up banging into other boats here too, and that individual was able to secure them. So the problem that we were having right here was the way the two boats were tied together. As you can see, the guy who did it grabbed a dock line off of my deck, tied it off to the little boat's mast, and then to mooring cleats on my boat. And in order for them to be free of my boat, it wasn't simply a matter of untying them, because as I said, they drifted over the top of my mooring buoy and my mooring painter. So their chain is actually over my mooring painter. So in this shot here, you can see that the young guy's dad is on the foredeck. That's the guy in the blue shorts. And he is pulling up the chain of the anchor over my mooring painter. So I'm holding their boat fast while they pull up their chain. And this in fact was the reason for the problem to begin with. I asked the young guy how much road he had down, and he said, oh, there's got to be at least 20 feet or 25 feet. And I kind of giggled because on a high tide there's 30 feet below the keel at this spot. So when the tide came up and the wind blew, their anchor road was basically going straight down. So just a little bit of a tug in there. They have a little, I don't know if you can see it here, yeah, a little fortress anchor. So once the anchor chain was clear of my road, we were able to back up, release all the dock lines, sail away. Sayonara. Nice knowing you. If you look over the starboard bow, just a little bit left of the bowsprit, you can see a green trawler. That boat also came loose and dragged and had to be resecured.